Following a club photo shoot, I joined a male peer and one of his friends for an impromptu dinner at North Dining Hall. I swiped my ID, but did not eat. He announced he had something to share involving the police before we had settled in. I could already tell nothing would settle in my stomach following what was to come. It was there, between 2 plates of food, 3 shiny aluminum chairs, and 2 female companions, that he had confessed he had been brought in after allegations were made against him for choking a female student. I resisted the urge to reach for my own throat, to reach for the memory of him forcing himself down my throat. I simply nodded as he spoke, thought it'd be best if I swallowed my tongue, thought against it for not wanting to risk raising any suspicion he might feel coming off of me. I said things like, "Wow, really? And that's unbelievable." I didn't speak after that last comment, as I hadn't found my forced perplexity to be convincing. I had officially become the 4th person he confessed to. The first was the police upon being summoned. The second, a man he considered his best friend and current roommate. And the third was a woman sitting next to him, yet across from me. Another close friend of his. I watched them both. The woman listened attentively and didn't seem to be struggling to keep her composure like I was. A sign to fix my face, and fix it quickly. I learned at a young age, God didn't like ugly. And what I was feeling was something very ugly. He assured us that the students' claims were nonsense, and that God would be on his side in the end, that the law was on his side then, and insisted that she assaulted him first, therefore he got to press charges. Fortunately for her, he was feeling merciful. Both of their actions could very well be true, but our history lingered like an open, rotting wound. I suppose this was my plate, festering, forgotten. I was distraught. I believed him and his victim. What I didn't believe was the order of events, especially after he mocked her for expressing her fear of him in the aftermath. He reeked of arrogance. It masked an infallible shame that hung in the air. And finally, it had been declared, no weapon shall prosper against him. Once I heard enough, I briskly said my goodbyes and began my trek down Rape Road. The irony was lost on me, and yet it desperately and aimlessly attempted to wrap its tendrils of truth around a throat that resisted its hold. A reminder, perhaps. The fact that there had long been a name given to the distance between us was horrifying. This moment, among others before it, should have woken me from my stupor. It didn't. It couldn't. Now when I left my body every time he came in it, it was a pain that I just didn't know how to bear. So I simply took this new information as an affirmation that something dark and twisted had transpired between us. Unwilling to be named, I was determined not to name what he had turned us into. Rapist and victim. It could not be real unless I gave it a name. Instead, I would listen to The Lord Is Coming by her on repeat for the entirety of my walk. I would immediately tell my closest friend. We never spoke of it again beyond my reveal. It would take months to wake me. It would take the next time he raped me. Hours later, I would seek out a name for this distance between us. It would be the last time I walked down that road by myself. It would feel like the longest walk of my life. Nonetheless, I marched forth. Fear not, listener. Her sang me from the depths of my subconsciousness, of my despair. She held me. She reacquainted me with our past, and most astonishingly, she reassured me that God was indeed a woman.